To talk more about how AI is being integrated into business functions, I'm joined by Ian Khan. He's the author of The Quick Guide to Prompt Engineering and host of The Futurist. Thank you so much for coming on our show to talk about this very timely topic.
You're welcome, Francis.
Well, Ian, let's first start with the many ways we're seeing artificial intelligence being used in business settings and marketing. It seems to evolve every day.
Absolutely. So I really believe we are in a very early stage of AI now getting out of the laboratory, getting out of all these experimentation stage, and now being used in different use cases, which means now we're using generative AI to write, our emails. Generative AI might be, used to use in healthcare or other settings, but it's still very initial days because not everybody is using and utilizing AI, and we still have a long way to go.
And let's talk about the experience for consumers. I mean, does the data show it's improving their experience? How so? And the second part of my question, you talked a little bit about this, but the concern about accessibility, not everyone has access to AI technology.
Absolutely. Like I said, it's very early days, but what's happening in the world right now is all the different systems, technologies, and platforms we access. For example, you might be a user on Facebook or Twitter, or you might be using Google as your search engine. Well, guess what? Everybody is now incorporating artificial intelligence at the back end, which means your search results will be better, which means your recommendations on your social platforms will be different. You may be able to create a post by just clicking on a button that says generate post using AI. You might be able to do that in the next few days, weeks, or months. And that's how AI is making its, a comeback in many different ways in the consumer world, where you and I can now access it very, very easily.
And back to the business aspect, the pros and cons of using AI in advertising campaigns, we're seeing a lot of that now, using AI-generated models, using people's likenesses, their voices, you name it. It's certainly a tricky balance, isn't it?
Absolutely. We're also headed into an era of confusion, and we need a lot of clarity on this. Some days ago, actually, a couple of weeks ago, OpenAI was in the news because Hollywood actress Scarlett Johansson accused them of using her voice or recreating her voice using artificial intelligence technology, which they later denied. But things like that, where IP infringement, using the likeliness of others, these are all things that are going to come to the main arena of what privacy means. What does it mean to create things and images and graphics using artificial intelligence? And do we have the permission to do that or not? And for this very reason, we need a clear pathway where everybody can agree on that pathway. We can have rules, regulations, and a kind of a plan of action on what we do with AI going forward.
And what about offices, workplaces? How is this type of technology changing the dynamics there?
So it really depends on who we're talking to. Many organizations have completely banned the usage of, say, generative AI within their organizations, and they do not want their employees to use any kind of generative AI. On the other hand, and in fact, a few days ago, you probably saw the tweet that Elon Musk made on Apple's announcement, where they said they're going to embed OpenAI into their devices. And Elon Musk said, I may ban, so he said something in the terms of that he may ban the usage of Apple devices in his companies. The reason why he said that was because he doesn't really know what information OpenAI will collect using those devices and so on. So it's still not very clear on who knows what about what information is being collected and how that will be used. Now, some other companies, for example, Microsoft is using AI very openly. They have a partnership with OpenAI. They have their own AI models, and they're using AI internally, such as on their platforms like LinkedIn Learning and others, to get others to use it, create posts, and so on. It's really early days. Everybody is trying to make up their own rules and see what fits their organization. And I think every organization must do their due diligence to establish the rules of how to use generative AI internally.
You talk about businesses and the people at the helm, but what about the people working at these businesses? Is it, as you said, everything's very unclear now. So what are kind of the general sentiments now? Is it just still, as you said, very early to tell?
Absolutely. So here's the challenge, Francis, that organizations have. Organizations approximately don't use, 70 to 80% of information that they hold, customer information, client data, all kinds of data. Majority of data is sitting in silos in organization. Now, what is happening with generative AI right now is there's a lot of public data that's available online, on websites, and in different places, which open platforms, for example, or platforms like OpenAI are using to scrape the internet and collect that information. The next era, which is happening right now with generative AI, will be when organizations have their own models within their own data silos, within their data centers, and they will leverage their own internal data, derive insights, and help understand their customers better. So that is going to be a turning point in enterprise AI, where organization will truly use AI internally. Their employees will use AI internally to find out, what the best way is to position their products, to advertise their products, to hold more inventory or to supply a store with inventory by predicting demand that may happen at a retail level, which we cannot see otherwise. So lots is coming up because this is the time when generative AI and AI platforms and models will now start working on internal company data that they hold. Exciting times are coming.